Did you know some ancient weapons were so terrifying that entire armies refused to fight against them? Before modern missiles and nukes, civilizations created weapons so destructive they changed the course of history forever. And one of them was so deadly, it could burn anything even on water. These weren't just simple swords or bows, we're talking about technologies so advanced, so feared, that their legends have survived for thousands of years. From fire that couldn't be extinguished to sounds that could paralyze soldiers with fear, these weapons were the ultimate psychological and physical tools of their time. They were the pinnacle of ancient terror engineering. But the first weapon on this list was so feared, Rome tried to erase every single record of it. It's called Greek fire, and it was the ancient world's version of a napalm flamethrower. Imagine a mysterious, sticky liquid shot from bronze tubes on the front of Byzantine warships. The moment it hit a target, it would ignite into a ferocious blaze that couldn't be put out with water. In fact, trying to douse it with water only made the fire burn more intensely. It would spread across the surface of the sea, turning entire naval battlefields into floating infernos. Entire fleets were destroyed in mere minutes. Soldiers who survived described the flames as living monsters, clinging to skin, wood, and sails, consuming everything in their path. The chemical formula was one of the most closely guarded secrets of the Byzantine Empire, and to this day, no one knows exactly what it was made of. The secret died with the empire, leaving behind only legends of its unstoppable power. But the next weapon didn't burn you. It blinded entire armies before they could even draw their swords. Ancient Chinese strategists, masters of both science and warfare, developed a weapon that harnessed the power of the sun itself. They crafted massive, concave bronze mirrors, polished to a perfect shine. These weren't just for looking at your reflection, they were solar death rays. By positioning these mirrors to catch and focus sunlight, armies could create a single, concentrated beam of intense heat. This beam could be aimed at enemy siege towers, wooden ships, or supply wagons from hundreds of feet away, causing them to burst into flames. But perhaps its most terrifying use was psychological. Just moments before a battle, these mirrors would be turned on the enemy ranks, reflecting a blinding glare that would temporarily blind hundreds of soldiers at once, leaving them disoriented and vulnerable for the charge that followed. But the next weapon caused so much fear that Rome, the most powerful empire in the world, banned its very existence. It wasn't a blade or a projectile, but a sound. Meet the Carnix. This wasn't just a war horn. It was a psychological weapon of mass destruction. Standing over 6 feet tall, this bronze instrument was shaped like a giant, stylized serpent or boar's head held high above the Celtic warriors. When blown, it didn't produce a musical note. It unleashed a deafening, dissonant, shrieking roar that echoed across the battlefield. The sound was designed to be unnatural and terrifying. Roman soldiers, known for their discipline, wrote about the Carnix in horror, describing the sound as the voices from the underworld or the shrieks of tortured beasts. The sheer volume and unearthly tone were enough to cause panic, break formations, and instill a deep, primal fear in even the most seasoned legionaries. But the next weapon was feared even by its own creators. In feudal Japan, the sword was more than a weapon, it was the soul of the samurai. But one type of blade was crafted not for honorable duels, but for one grim purpose: ritual execution. These blades, sometimes known as an uchikubi, were specialized decapitation swords. They were longer, heavier, and had a different balance than a traditional katana. They were forged with such incredible sharpness and weight distribution that a single, swift strike by a skilled executioner could sever a head cleanly, even if the person was wearing armor around their neck. While these swords were considered sacred tools necessary for carrying out justice or ritual suicide, they were also seen as cursed. Samurai believed the blades absorbed the sorrow and despair of those they killed, making them objects of both reverence and deep-seated fear. But the deadliest weapon of all wasn't made of metal, fire, or sound. It was invisible. Centuries before the Geneva Convention, ancient armies were pioneers in biological and chemical warfare. The Scythian archers, feared nomads of the Eurasian steppes, perfected one of the earliest forms of bioweapons. They would dip their arrowheads into a horrifying concoction of snake venom, decomposed human blood, and manure. A non-fatal wound from one of these arrows would lead to a slow, agonizing death from gangrene and tetanus. Other armies had different methods. During sieges, it was common practice to use catapults to hurl plague-infected corpses or even just animal carcasses over city walls. The goal was to contaminate the enemy's water supply, spread disease, and break their morale from the inside. It was a gruesome, effective strategy that proves the idea of weaponized disease is thousands of years old. But the final weapon was so advanced, experts today are still debating how it was even possible for it to exist. In 1901, divers discovered an ancient Roman shipwreck off the coast of the Greek island of Antikythera. Inside, they found a lump of corroded bronze that would rewrite history. It was the Antikythera mechanism, a 2,200-year-old analog computer. This device, filled with a complex system of at least 30 interlocking bronze gears, was incredibly sophisticated. It could predict solar eclipses, track the movements of the planets, and even signal the timing of the next Olympic Games. Its mechanical precision was so far ahead of its time that nothing comparable was built again until the 18th century. While not a weapon itself, its strategic value would have been immense. It could predict lunar phases for planning night attacks or calculate the most auspicious dates for launching a military campaign. It was, in essence, the world's first war computer. But one question remains: who built it, and what else were they capable of creating? From Greek fire that burned on water to an ancient computer that could predict the future, history's most dangerous weapons, didn't just change the outcome of wars, they reshaped the path of civilization itself. We've uncovered lost technologies and ancient fears, proving that human ingenuity has always found new, terrifying ways to wage conflict. What other forgotten weapons and lost technologies do you think shaped our world? The secrets are out there, buried in time. If you want more unbelievable history documentaries like this, hit that follow button and join us as we explore the hidden corners of the ancient world. Thanks for watching.